And welcome back to episode 20 of the Sportsgasm podcast, the podcast created by the fans, for the fans, because we believe that we're the most qualified to talk about our favorite teams. I was almost perfect through that intro, almost perfect.
Almost.
I hope you guys really enjoyed that new intro, courtesy of Kylee, who made that. But yes, I'm your co-host, Isaac.
And I'm Kylee.
And you may have noticed we have a new addition to the podcast.
Hey, I'm Calvin. Nice to meet you guys. Y'all seen me before, but hey.
So Calvin, our usual betting expert who we've had on the show a couple of times before, is officially joining us as a third member. I believe the idea we went into thinking about that was that 2 is great, but 3 is usually better, and might as well. So welcome aboard, Calvin, as new permanent member.
Welcome, Calvin.
Thank
We're
you
happy to
guys.
have
I
you.
appreciate you guys. Happy to be here with you guys while it grows.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, we're so excited. We're so excited for you to be here with us.
Since the beginning.
That's true. That's true. So before we get into today's episode, which is jam-packed, we got a lot to talk about. We, of course, got a shout-out to our sponsors, which, if you're reading the banner below us, they are rolling around down there. And we got, as usual, we got a couple promo codes for you guys to check out. You can use promo code OCS at www.bodycheckwellness.com for 25% off all of your hemp-derived CBD oils and edibles for you as well as your furry friends. And this is a big one, if you are trying to grow out your voluptuous playoff beard in celebration of the Stanley Cup playoffs, head on over to www.norsebeards.com and use promo code OCS at checkout for 25% off your Beardsman products, oils, brushes. Shout out to Jesse from Flyers Alley Podcast and Old City Sports Network, who gave me who told me to check out some of their beard brushes. Those are hopefully coming in the mail soon. So shout out Jesse for giving me the scoop on what to get there. But again,
Appreciate you, Jesse.
Always appreciate it. Again, use promo code OCS at www.bodycheckwellness.com for all of your CBD products, and use the same code at norsebeards.com for all of your Beardsman products. And again, thank you to our sponsors. We wouldn't be here without you guys.
That being said, let's head on to the MLB, where
Whoop,
the
whoop.
Red Sox, beat the Cubs 20-5.
You can repeat that just in case some of us don't think it's real.
20-5.
You know what's crazy about that? The Reds are probably one of the worst teams in the whole MLB, if not the worst team in the MLB. And for them to put 20 runs up, it's just crazy. But hey,
I read that it was the most runs they have scored in a game since the early 2000s. So, I mean...
Oh, my God.
And if you've looked at the standings, the Reds are they've been doing really well the last week. They beat the Giants a couple of times. They put up all those runs on the Cubs, and they're no longer the worst team in the league. There are 3 teams with worse records.
Yeah. So you got to love the MLB. There's always something crazy going on, and this is just a classic example.
The Reds ownership is probably going to use this, however, as an excuse to say, see, nothing's wrong. We don't have to make changes.
Guaranteed. Another high-scoring game. The Red Sox kill the White Sox 16-7.
Sock fight.
Sock fight. Yeah, definitely. I always love when there's a sock fight, but another blowout.
It's been a lot of blowouts this year, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's felt like every day you look at the results from the previous night, and it's like, oof.
The Red Sox have been one of the most inconsistent teams this year. Some nights they're beating teams 16-7, then they're losing to the Orioles, who did they play last night? They lost to somebody last night. It might have been the Reds, to be honest. So the Red Sox, I just don't even know what to say about them, but
I don't either.
I do. Good riddance.
And it's crazy because they have such great hitters too. I was just telling Kylie before the podcast started, Rafael Devers and JD Martinez both have at least one hit in 86% of the games they've played. So, Trevor Story's up there too, and people like that. So it's like, I just don't understand why them guys aren't consistent, beating teams 16-7 every night.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. But again, baseball. It's a crazy, crazy game.
Honestly, looking at you could say the same thing about the Red Sox for the White Sox too. They have been wildly inconsistent as well.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the entire American League has been inconsistent outside of the Yankees this year.
Yeah,
pretty
honestly.
much.
Like, you
And then
see
you
how
got
top-heavy the National League is, and then the American League is just all over the place.
Yeah, I know. And then you had the Dodgers embarrassing the Diamondbacks 14-1.
That's not newsworthy. That's normal. That's normal.
That's very normal, but we need to talk about how the Dodgers have been getting embarrassed lately. They're banned forever.
They lost the 2 games against the Pirates. Like, you're supposed to be the best team in the MLB, and you can't even beat the Pirates.
I'm pretty sure in that series as well, the Diamondbacks series, the Diamondbacks came back the night after and beat them.
It's all over the place this year. There's no consistency. There's no consistency at all. What other blowouts did we have happening, Kylie?
You have the Orioles beating the Red Sox 12-8, and then the very next game, the Red Sox beat the Orioles 12-2.
There you go. Now, that first game, actually, something pretty crazy did happen. The Red Sox were up, 6-0 on the Orioles?
6-0.
Yeah.
6-0.
And it was looking ugly for the Orioles early.
Yeah, the Phillies bullpen must have switched teams for a second because blew a 6-run lead. That was the Orioles scoring those 12 runs was the most since I'm pretty sure either 2019 or last year or something like that. One of the highest scoring games they've had recently.
It's one of the few games the past week that actually was worth it to watch. Everything else has just been either one-sided or just boring. Except for Phillies games. Whenever the Phillies are playing, it's always exciting for some reason. Always is. Look, I know, Kylie, hear me out. I know I said I was a humble sports fan before the show started, but it's pretty funny watching the Phillies.
Don't worry. We'll get to you. But on some annoying news, Tommy Pham was suspended 3 games for pulling a Will Smith on.
Oh, wow!
That was a lot less funny than I thought it'd be, but
it was still pretty funny. It was still pretty funny. You know what? We tried it. I'll give you credit. The reason why he did this is confusing to me. So it was over fantasy football?
Yeah. Here's what he said.
Tommy Pham suspension for the game. Just what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I saw that, and I know what he said, and it's true. There was a lot of money involved in it. I did send a GIF in the group chat that was making fun of the Padres. In the group chat, there was also there was more than one Padre. There was maybe 4 or 5 that I'm kind of close with a couple of them, and it was supposed to be a friendly thing, just making fun of they were playing bad.
So really, he sent a GIF, and Tommy got mad.
So it wasn't about fantasy football.
Oh, it was, but he's also sent a GIF. It was in the fantasy football group chat.
Oh, okay.
There was money involved, and he sent a GIF too, and I guess that pissed him off.
Imagine getting that pressed about something just non-impactful at all on your careers.
Yeah,
You're professional baseball players who are making thousands of dollars every day, basically, by suiting up, and you're getting pressed over fantasy football.
Makes no sense.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know. What's your take on this, Calvin?
I mean, like you said, man, it's stupid. You can't even take the money with you. You know, when you go one day, you can't take that money with you. Who cares, man? Do your job, play baseball, do what you're supposed to do, and keep the fantasy football stuff outside of your profession.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fantasy football, first of all, and it was just a funny GIF because the Padres were bad last year.
Yeah, and I understand getting upset about stuff that happens in fantasy football sometimes. The first time I did fantasy football, we had a person in our group. This was sophomore year of college. We had a person in our group who had never watched a football game before, never played football, never done fantasy football, who beat me 3 times. And everybody was, whipping my ass about because they were like, "Oh my God, Isaac, you lost to Rachel, and and she doesn't even watch football. Did I go up to those guys and punch them in the face? No, because I actually understand that it's just fantasy football, that it's not real.
And it's also just jokes.
Yeah.
Take a joke. But speaking of, teams being bad and you guys shitting on me for the Phillies, they are now on a 5-game losing streak. They have a worse record than the Pirates and are tied with the Orioles.
And the worst part about this is that the media continues to say it's not Joe Girardi's fault. Now, Kylie, as our resident Phillies fan, I'm curious what your take on that is.
So obviously this is not all on Joe Girardi. Of course. He can't control the pitchers blowing a lead every single game, literally. But he can control who he puts in the game. Juris Familia is not only a terrible person, but he's a terrible pitcher. The dude is awful. He gave up every single time he comes in. He has like over an 8 ERA. I'm pretty sure. Last I saw, it was somebody. It was one. Yeah, and then he also then put in Bilotti last night after Familia blew the lead, and he blew the lead again. And he gave up a 2-run home run to Jock Peterson, and then that was the game. Like it's not firing Girardi is not going to fix everything or pretty much anything, but it's going to send a message to your big name players, Harper, Wheeler, Nola, Castellanos, Schwarber. It's going to send a message to those players that you care and you are genuinely trying to win. Because right now, if you look at them, they do not look like they are trying to win. They don't look like they care. And so firing Girardi brings no energy to the team at all.
I don't know the exact stat, but I know that I've seen you guys with my own eyes give up 4 ninth-inning ball games. You guys were up in the 9th inning and ended up losing in the 9th inning because you gave up 2-3 runs.
I can't even make fun of that. That's just sad. I can't even.
One of those was a 7-2 lead, 7-1 lead.
Oh yeah, that one I actually did watch. I was front and center for that one.
We're not gonna worry about what team that was against, but we're gonna,
right.
We're gonna talk about the fact that it happened at all.
Yeah,
play like in Queens or something, but whatever.
Yeah, it was some field in Queens or something. The wrong New York team. I don't know.
It's like inferior to the field they had before.
Yeah, the inferior New York baseball team, something like that.
Never should have gotten rid of Shea. They never should have gotten rid of Shea. Anyway, that's just beside the point.
Yeah, but no, seriously, that's just a crazy stat. Like I said, I don't know the exact stat, but I know of 4 at least. So
yeah.
And just that in general, like you said, it's not all on Girardi because he can't control the pitcher. He can't control how someone's hitting the ball that night. He can't control how a catcher catches it and tries to catch someone stealing the base or something like that. He can't control any of that. But like you said, he does control the guys that are on his team. He does control the guys that he puts on the field. Put your best ball players out there. Go try to win a baseball game.
And he literally put Familia in. Yeah. And this was last night too. I watched the whole thing. I lost my mind. So it was a grounder and Familia got it. And it was a grounder to first base and Hoskins. Hoskins threw it to Familia. Familia bobbled it. And that dude is already hated by the entire city of Philadelphia. That did not help. So, I mean, you never want to fire your managers, but this guy, get him out of here.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But another team that's been disappointing, not to me, but to their fans, the Braves. They call up their top prospect, Michael Harris. I haven't checked how he's done since they called him up. But they called him up finally to hopefully bring some life into that team.
Honestly, I didn't even know that they called somebody up based on what they've been doing lately.
Right.
Like you said, they've been very cold.
I wasn't even aware that they were playing baseball this year.
Yeah, I haven't heard of the Braves in the last couple of days, so I was not aware that they brought Michael Harris up. Shout out to Michael Harris for getting into the big leagues, though. But
yeah, true.
Hopefully, he can bring some firepower to that team that's struggling right now.
And it's weird because like this is the defending World Series
The
champion, and
defending World Series champion.
Yeah.
we know championship hangovers are a thing. The Braves are currently having the mother of all championship hangovers.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I rooted for the Braves last year in the World Series, so I kind of feel rough for them.
Well, you had to.
Yeah, I mean, you can't root for the Astros.
I can.
So Kylie, it's not 2017 anymore. We can't root for the Astros.
I am rooting for him. Well, I did last year. Not anymore.
Hmm.
Just a one time.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Some unfortunate news out of baseball though. Kurt Suzuki suffers a neck contusion after being hit with a warm-up pitch.
Hmm. I was always a big fan of Kurt Suzuki when he was over here in Washington. So
Yeah.
I mean, get better soon, bro. Like he was,
Yeah, get
he
better
was
soon,
an
man.
awesome part of that World Series team.
He was a very big part of that team.
He's been there. He was there forever too. I remember going to games back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, and Kurt Suzuki was, behind plate. So let's just hope that he can get better. Remind me, who is he on now? I
I
lost
think he's
track
on
of
the
where he went.
Angels.
He did go to the Angels, right?
I
Yeah,
think so, yeah.
yeah, and that's unfortunate because the Angels have been struggling recently. They got the Yankees wiped the floor with them last night, and like I was not expecting us to beat them that badly. Like I thought going into this series, I thought, okay, this is going to be a tough one because the Angels they've been good, and we just wiped the floor with them. So I hate to see that too because that's one of those teams that like you can't feel bad for them. Like they're the Angels. They're one of those lovable underdog teams out west. You got to
Yeah.
root for them. They're
And
like
they
the
have
Mariners.
Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout.
They're like the Mariners if the Mariners actually won a World Series.
Or went to the playoffs the last 20 years.
True.
So we do have some stat leaders to get to. So let's get through that real quick. I think it's week 8, not week 7. But yeah, let's get into the stat leaders through week 8. For the batting average, it is right now JD Martinez batting .363. And for the home runs, you have Aaron Judge, of course. And then for RBI, you have Jose Ramirez with 51. Rafael Devers is leading the league in hits with 72. And in stolen bases, it's Julio Rodriguez with 14. But Jorge Mateo was very, very close. He just needs one more. And I'm going to that game tonight, so hopefully he gets at least one. For pitchers, for wins, we have a 4-way tie with Walker Buehler, Justin Verlander, Tyler Anderson, and Adam Simber. They are all leading the league with 6 wins. And for ERA, you have Martin Perez of the Rangers with a 1.42 ERA. And then saves, of course, is none other than Josh Hader with 18 saves. This dude has not blown a save since the entire season. He hasn't allowed a single run since in the regular season since toward the end of last season. He has not allowed a single earned run since then.
It's absolutely
then-
ridiculous.
Yeah, the dude's going off. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's been doing right now, and not enough people are talking about it. People are talking about it, but I don't think it's getting nearly enough conversation. And for strikeouts, you have Shane McClanahan with 81, and then with quality starts, you have Joe Musgrove with 9. So that's the stat leaders.
So let's just go back to that hits for a second before we move on to the next segment. Like I was saying before the podcast, JD Martinez has at least one hit in 86% of his games, leading the league in batting average, 363. I also said Rafael Devers is hitting 86%, at least one hit in all of his games, leading the league in hits with 72. So that just shows you right there the Red Sox, they got guys who hit the ball. It's just not putting enough points on the board.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that's the same with it used to be the same with the Phillies, and now they're just blowing leads out the ass. So can never win. Last thing in the MLB is our standings updates.
Woohoo.
So This is not something I want to get into, but we have to.
Yeah.
So, leading the AL East, we're going to start the AL. Leading in the East is Isaac's Yankees, and then
Yeet.
5.5 games back of them is the Blue Jays, and then the Tampa Bay Rays are 6 games back. The Red Sox are 11.5 games back, and the Orioles and they're 14 games back. In typical Oriole fashion.
Yep.
Hey, they cracked 20 wins though.
They did crack 20 wins. This is true. And then for the AL Central, you have the Minnesota Twins leading it. The Chicago White Sox are 5 games back. The Guardians are 6 games back. The Tigers are 10 games back. And the Royals are 12.5 games back.
Royals have been looking horrible the last couple of weeks, and
Yeah.
now they've gotten to the point where they are down there. They're below the Reds.
Haven't even cracked 20 wins.
Yeah.
But neither are the Tigers. But, And then out west for the AL, you have the Houston Asterisks, and then you have the Angels 5 games behind them. The Rangers are 7 games back. The Mariners are 10.5 games back. And the Athletics, who finally cracked 20 wins, are 13 games back.
It's just gross. It's gross.
Yeah. And then we are going to kick it off to the NL, and we're going to start with the East again. And we're having not a fun time. The New York Mets are leading it all. Of
Number
course.
one.
And then you got the Braves 10.5 games behind them, which, I mean, this is the biggest difference between first and second in the division in the entire MLB. That just shows you how terrible this division is.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. And then at
It's kind
12
of
and a
like
half
the
games.
NFC East in football.
Huh?
It's kind of like the NFC East in football.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, whatever at this point. 12.5 games back, you got my Phillies. And also 12.5 games back, you got the Marlins. And then happily 16 games back is the Nationals. I mean, they haven't even cracked 20 wins yet either. Neither of the Marlins.
They're
Nationals have dropped to the very bottom of the league.
Yes, they have.
Overall.
Yeah.
It is dark times in Washington.
Mm-hmm. I feel bad for some of the fans, like some of my friends, but
Actually, let me check that. The Royals are dead last in the league. They are half a game behind Washington.
Oh my god. And then I'm going to the NL Central. You have the Brewers leading it all. Then the Cardinals 3 games back from them. You got the Pirates 9.5 games back. The Cubs 11 games back. And the Reds 13.5 games back from them. So
Pirates
division
still
is
have the
just-
worst run differential in the league at -81, but
Yep.
Royals are starting to catch them. So
I mean, what do you do, man? Like,
there's not much else you can do.
I know. So the NL West, which I'm pretty sure is the tightest race of all of them. Yep.
As it
You
always
have-
is.
Yeah. They're just good. You have the Dodgers leading it all for now. The Padres 3 games behind that. The Giants are 5.5 games back. The Diamondbacks are 9 games back. And the Rockies are 10.5 games back.
You know what's kind of crazy about that? That West is so tight, because I said when you were naming the East, I was like, it's kind of like the NFC East in football. And that West is kind of like the NFC West in football. That Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals division, they're always right there with each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's cool.
Now, before we move on to our next topic, I just want to say we are now 2 months into the Major League Baseball season. So, give me your guys' 2-month prediction for the World Series. We did this, Kylie, after 1 month.
We did.
We did. So, 2 months in, who's your prediction?
All right, I'll give you my biased opinion, and then I'll give you my real opinion.
Gotcha.
So, biased opinion, I'm obviously going with the Mets.
Right.
2 months in, though, I really like, as much as I hate to say it, the other New York team.
Yeah.
It's not terrible. That's not a terrible prediction. It's quite good. I gotta agree with you right now. I think it's looking like to me it'll be Yankees Dodgers.
Yeah, if the Dodgers can get their stuff together.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Yankees versus either the Dodgers or the Mets is what it's looking like. If not the Yankees from the American League, then groan the asterisks. But
Yeah, I mean,
it's-
I don't think the Astros are.
You can't ever count those guys out, though, man. They
You
got
can't.
ball players over there.
Yeah, you really can't count them out, and that's the unfortunate thing. I'd like to.
we play the Astros later this month, so
But
man,
let me just
okay.
say this.
their
Let me-
first game is during my friend's wedding. Ooh.
Oh God.
Sorry, Noah. If you're watching, I'm gonna have to have my phone out during the reception. Sorry.
So one thing too that I do have to mention, the Mets do not have Jacob deGrom or Max Scherzer right now, or McGill. Normally, the Mets usually met it up. They usually crumble. And it's usually early, midway through the season. This team does not quit.
It's a different ball team this year.
It is very different this year.
I'm not gonna say anything until they get through July without collapsing. I've watched the Mets long enough to know what's coming. I'm gonna hold off on praising them until they get through July. It's like, oh, the Mets are actually really good.
The Mets, baby. It's all about the Mets. Love the Mets.
About the
I'll
Mets.
hold
Love
you
the
to
Mets,
that.
baby.
I'll hold you to that. Later in July, I'm gonna say, Isaac, remember episode 20? Where
And at the same time, I will be like, you guys remember episode 20? If the Mets are collapsing. Yeah. Look who wouldn't say the Mets are good yet.
This is
Just
why
say-
baseball
just
is
saying,
great.
The
because
Mets
we
have
have-
traumatized enough people.
Yes.
It's like PTSD.
Yeah.
You know what's coming. You know what's coming.
seriously.
It's just a matter of when. But see, this is why I love baseball, because you got you two at the Battle of New York, and you got me and Calvin, who are just like
Mets
Phillies
Philly.
and Mets. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a hater
And then,
rivalry.
Kylie, our relationship in that case would be me kicking your team's butt in the 2009 World Series.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You look, all right. We got 2008. It's okay. Cries.
That's
All right,
cool.
so that's the last time we were relevant. So now moving on to the NBA, and let's get on to the series updates, where we have the Mavs being eliminated in 5 games, and the Warriors advanced to 6th finals in 8 years.
Shout out to the Mavs for
Yes.
doing what I thought was impossible. I thought they were going to get eliminated in the first round. I thought they were going to get swept without Luka. They made it all the way to the conference finals. I will give them a massive round of applause.
Absolutely.
Good job. Good job. That you guys were humble in defeat, and you did a damn good job. But the Warriors were they wanted it more.
They did. They really
Shout
did.
out to the Mavs, but the Luka Doncic. I'll say this every time on every episode until all the comparisons stop from these analysts. But the Luka Doncic to LeBron James comparisons had to stop now because win or lose, LeBron was in the NBA Finals at 22.
He was.
Just saying.
With that poverty team. Yeah, you're not wrong. I swear to God, dude, these analysts and Twitter have turned me into a LeBron defender.
You can't hate the guy.
And it's just like and I know people are just trying to get clicks and everything, and I don't respect people that do that, because I try to, with my very small following of mostly people that I know, I try not to, do stupid shit like say, is Curry going to be on LeBron's level is Curry going to be this generation's GOAT if he gets finals MVP? No. You're not going to see me do that, because that's not true, and that's stupid, and that's just getting clicks and comments and likes. It's stupid.
I mean, I'll say something to that. No disrespect to Steph Curry. I'll get back on track here with the Warriors. No disrespect to Steph Curry at all. That guy is the greatest shooter I've
Absolutely
ever seen.
not.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I've never seen anybody shoot a basketball like that, man. Like,
Yeah.
the man can step 1 foot over half court, and it may go on there's a very high chance it goes into the basket.
Yeah, his range is literally half court.
Yeah, shout out to Steph Curry. He's a great basketball player. He definitely changed the game, and he is one of the greatest of all time.
Yes.
But
he's not over LeBron.
LeBron just changed the game in a different way. Nobody's ever going to go to 8 straight finals again. Like,
No.
it's not going to happen. Like,
8
doesn't
straight
matter who you
finals,
put on the
10
court.
straight playoff appearances. Like, people got so used to that.
18 All-Star appearances, 19 seasons. Like, guy's one of a kind. So, like, and this is the thing, too. I think I really stopped it when Kobe died, but I don't do the comparison stuff anymore. Like, I just appreciate the game in general.
Yes.
So I won't say this guy's better than this guy. Like, I don't even say LeBron's better than Jordan anymore. When people bring that argument to me, I was like, bro, Jordan was great. LeBron's great. That's what it is.
Just appreciate them.
Yeah, they both changed the game in their own way. And, you know, they're going to be somebody's GOAT in whoever's eyes, you know?
Yeah.
Such, we all know that Bill Russell was better than both of them.
And exactly, if we're talking rings, then, you know, if we're talking rings, Bill Russell actually is the best player ever to play the NBA game.
Yeah, because rings matter so much.
Yeah.
No, but here's the thing, though. People have to realize, like, the 90s was Jordan. 2000s, Kobe. 2010s, Bron. Like,
going back even further, 80s, Larry and Magic.
Yeah,
70s,
exactly.
I don't think there was a single player for the 70s, actually.
But you get the point. Like,
yeah, 70s NBA was weird. Damn.
Yeah, 70s, yeah.
They didn't have one.
But, like, you get the point, though, because
the thing about it is, too, though, they still hold LeBron to a standard in year 20. So how can this guy not be the best player ever if you're still holding him to a standard in year 20?
At 37 years old.
Held to a standard.
I'll say this much. The fact that every time that LeBron and the Lakers aren't even anywhere near the finals, and yet we're still talking about it on the podcast shows how good he is. The fact that we can't escape talking about him.
But it's not just us, though. It's funny.
I know.
I was at one of my friends' house yesterday, and we were watching ESPN, the Skip and Shannon Undisputed. And
I can't stand that shit.
They're talking about the exactly what we're talking about. They were talking about the Warriors and the Mavs, and somehow it came up as if LeBron doesn't make it to the playoffs this next year, is his career, is his legacy over? And I'm like, why are these guys even talking about that? Like, LeBron doesn't have anything to prove, nor is LeBron even in the championship. So why are we even talking about LeBron? But like you said, you can't exceed the guy, man.
But these guys get the MVP votes. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's just that's my biggest problem with the NBA.
And that's another thing too. Like, I don't mean to cut you off, Kylie, but LeBron could be the MVP every year if he wanted to, because if it's really about most valuable player, LeBron is the most valuable to his team every year.
Yeah. I mean, just watch what's going to happen when Bronny gets into the league. Watch how many teams give up everything just to get LeBron. Or just to get Bronny, because that's a guaranteed getting LeBron.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so it's just...
See,
this is what happens, dude. Twitter and stupid media people have turned me into a LeBron defender. Like, it's just annoying.
But also, though, the Warriors advancing to 6 finals in 8 years is just as crazy as LeBron going to 8 straight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in an era of parity, you should. This is something that shouldn't be happening, yet the Warriors keep doing it, and that's a testament to that coaching staff, to that core that, despite getting up there in age, is still producing.
Piggybacking off of that, though, Isaac, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson have been through it all together.
Yeah,
over a decade playing together.
And it's at this point, and it's not like a big three situation.
No,
like you would see like the big three Celtics or any of those super teams. It kind of gives more of a vibe of, a 90s Bulls vibe, where you've got the one huge superstar, Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, his sidekick, who is just as good, if not better sometimes, but also not on the same level, Klay Thompson, Scottie Pippen, and then the asshole.
Dennis Rodman,
It's literally the 90s Bulls.
Yes.
Honestly, though,
it really is.
Are they better than the 90s Bulls?
No.
I'm biased. I'm going to say no. But
I mean, statistically, they are. 73-9 is better than 72-10.
90s Bulls, however, were undefeated in the finals. Warriors lost too. To be fair, one of those losses was because of injuries and the Raptors getting
Warriors
really,
lost
really
the
lucky.
Series.
Yeah. 73-9. Warriors lost. That was the Cavs championship year.
That team too. Okay, to be fair, no one was beating LeBron that year. That Cavs team with LeBron was like, I have lost this too many times. We're not doing this.
They had
Yeah,
that
no way.
3-1 lead though, and everything was like,
Although to be fair there too, Draymond got suspended because he and LeBron got into it, and then Steph got ejected from like that crucial game 6 because he threw his mouthpiece at a fan. I remember that. I was losing my shit in my basement. I was going crazy.
Here's my thing with that though, because like when we just talk about this, that just proves that Mickey Mouse titles don't exist. They don't, because every single title team has had some luck go their way. The Toronto Raptors, 2019, they had Steph Curry and they had Klay Thompson and
Kevin Durant
hurt.
Yep.
The 2012, 2013 Heat had Kawhi Leonard hurt. It's just every single year, every team has something go their way. Yeah. Mickey Mouse titles don't exist.
And I tell you right now, if KD and Klay Thompson are playing in that year the Raptors win, the Raptors don't win that.
No, not at all.
I think it comes down to 7 games, but I don't know if they're going to pull that out.
If Klay didn't tear his ACL in Game 6, that's a wrap.
Probably.
But moving on, because we can go on about this forever, honestly.
Yeah, I want to get to the finals predictions.
Yeah, so we have the Heat being eliminated at home. Haha, Isaac. In 7 games. Calvin's prediction for the finals comes true. The Celtics advanced to the finals for the first time since 2010.
I just want to say this series was agony to watch because none of the games were particularly close. And even the games that were close, it was literally just Boston versus Jimmy Butler. Like, I'm not even upset about us losing. Like, we did not deserve to go to the finals if the only person showing any heart out on the court is Jimmy Butler. The rest of the team just did not show up. So that's my take. Good win, Boston.
Calvin, you have something to say? Go
for everybody who just heard them say I was right. I said this way before the playoffs started.
Yes,
Celtics did championship, and I'm sticking with my boys, man. I'm sticking with Jason Tatum and those guys. I love Steph Curry, I love Draymond, I love Klay Thompson, but I got the Celtics in 7. That's my prediction.
In 7, interesting.
With
that being said, let's get on to the NBA Finals preview. Isaac, you wanted to take away with this one.
So I always, whenever there's a championship series, I always like to look back in time and see if they've met previously and look at the history of the series. And I found out some interesting stuff. Hey,
listen to this guy.
That's my angle. So the Warriors and the Celtics, they have met each other 4 previous times in the playoffs.
Let them know the record.
All of these have been between 1958 and 1964. The Celtics are a perfect 4-0 in series against the Warriors, including their last meeting, which was the 1964 NBA Finals, where Boston just thrashed the Warriors. And this was a Warriors team that had Wilt Chamberlain in his prime, and Boston just wiped the floor with him. It wasn't even Bill Russell doing the damage. The entire Celtics team just went off and annihilated them in 5 games. It was brutal. Boston has never lost a series against the Warriors, which, I mean, if you're picking this Boston team, by the way, which had a losing record about halfway through the season, and then went on an incredible tear the second half of the year, the historical precedent is there for them to win.
I tweeted, because I love Twitter, I tweeted something earlier this week, and I was watching First Take, and Mike Greenberg, Greeny, said during the Bucks Celtics series, when the Celtics were down, I think 0-2, I think it was, where he was like, what's happening to the Celtics? They're crumbling, and ever since then they've beat Milwaukee in 7, beat the Heat, and are now in the finals.
Yeah.
And this dude gets an MVP vote. It just pisses me off when things like that happen.
Okay, to be fair though, it did seem like at first at the start of that series against the Bucks that they were falling apart. So you can excuse somebody for overreacting. At the same time though,
they just had to get some stuff together. It was just, things weren't going well at first. That's all.
Look what happened when Embiid came back to Philly, won 2 straight games.
That's true.
We're not going to worry about the rest of that, but the point remains the same. Like,
this is what I will say about this finals, though. This is the first finals I think we've seen in a long time where both teams were built from the bottom up. None of these teams like traded and went out their way for players or anything like that. Yeah. Steph, Clay, Draymond, they were all drafted by the Warriors. Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, they were all drafted by the Celtics.
The only big free agent is Al Horford, and
yeah,
that's not like a big grab. That's just like, well, he was available.
Trade.
Exactly, they just mesh like defensive wise. Like it's going to be a great game. It should be a great defensive battle because Draymond lives and dies by defense. So he's going to have the Warriors tight. The Celtics, on the other hand, they have the defensive player of the year in Marcus Smart. Plus, that's just what they're built on. I think I was just saying the other day, I think all but 2 games out of that 7-game series in the Miami Celtics game, it was like low scoring affairs than more what you see in the NBA today. Now you're seeing like 130 to 125 and stuff like that. But we didn't really see that in that Heat Celtics series. There's a lot of defense. And I think that's going to be what's involved in this finals as well. And it's going to be a great finals. It's going to be very fun. I think this is going to be a very, very fun finals.
I'm excited to see. It's fitting that for the 75th anniversary of the NBA, the 2 oldest teams in the league are the ones who play in the finals. Yeah. So I'm excited too. This Warriors team, they are built from they're built around their core, but they have the depth to take you on. They have so many random players that nobody expected to be good, just kicking ass. On the other hand, you have a Boston team with a defense that's just it's a flashback to the past.
Yeah,
I expect this
Williams
series to be low scoring, and I expect the Warriors and their experience to win out. Give me the Warriors in 6. It's going to be close though. Celtics are going to make every game really close.
So I do not want the Celtics to win.
Obviously.
But
what about Al Horford? What about Al Horford?
I don't like Al Horford.
That boy's a bucket though. I like Al Horford.
But I want the Warriors to win in 4. But I think no matter what, it's gonna go to 7. But I'm gonna give.
We deserve that.
Yeah, but
after the postseason full of just blowouts and games that weren't really that fun, we deserve a 7-game series.
Yeah, we do, and I'm going to give the edge to Boston. I think the lack of experience is going to hinder them, but they have Al Horford, who has a lot of playoff experience himself, not a finals experience, but he has playoff experience, and that could help them. And Tatum has been to the conference finals before. He lost, but he's been there. So I think they have just enough experience to where they can get it done. And I think they will.
Hey, going back to Al Horford, it's off topic of basketball, but just because my daughter's got it in her, Al Horford is the first Dominican to be in the NBA Finals ever.
Nice. Wow. I didn't know that.
Nice.
See, you learn something new every day on this podcast.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
So with that being said,
let's make sure we got it good. I said Warriors in 6. Kylie, you said Boston in 7.
Yeah.
Calvin,
I like Boston in 7.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the only one taking the Warriors here, huh?
Yes. Once again, I'd like to thank our sponsors for helping us out. You guys are great. Again, behind us, down below. But moving on, we have the NFL with the Commanders purchasing land in Virginia. Possible move is most likely going to happen.
It's stupid and it's infuriating and it's a spit in the face to the city of Washington that this team is literally saying we're going to go move closer to Richmond than Washington, D.C.
Hurts my heart.
They have the perfect place for a stadium, though. Just tear down RFK, build a new RFK stadium. There you go. It's perfect. But no, they won't do it because of stupid reasons. I'm dancing. Well, hopefully, whenever the new owners take over, because it's going to happen.
I tell you what, when we're the Virginia Commanders, I'm not a fan anymore.
Yes, you are. You got to root for your team, man.
It's not even the same team.
That's fair. Who are you gonna pick though?
I don't know. To be determined.
All I'm gonna say is this: there's been a disturbing trend recently with teams building stadiums outside of their metropolitan areas. that we in the sports writing world like to call saying the quiet part out loud. The Braves did this when they decided to move from Turner Field, which nothing wrong with Turner Field. It's just it's in downtown Atlanta. But this new stadium out in the nice, clean suburbs. It's what we call saying the quiet part out loud. So
Yeah.
Washington's doing that same thing. We could build a stadium in downtown DC. Oh, but these suburbs in Virginia are so nice, and they have the types of fans that we want.
And they won't be able to keep Washington either. They're going to make them change to Virginia because I was reading an article not too long ago, and they were saying that they're trying to make the Jets and the Giants change their name to New Jersey right now because they don't play in New York. They play in New Jersey.
They at least play in the metro area. Like Washington would be moving out of the metro area.
Yeah.
And besides, Virginia doesn't need a professional sports team. That's college territory. Those southern states, the reason why they don't have big professional teams is because college sports have such a huge, like in Virginia, that's college football territory.
They would lose 30,000 fans in that stadium as well.
Yeah.
I saw the charts, and I think FedEx holds like 80K, and the new stadium would only hold like 56.
That's
Yeah,
brutal.
so,
You're losing 30,000 fans.
Yeah, so here is the I had it. It was 50,000 fans.
Yeah, something like that. It's crazy.
It was 50,000 fans, and that is the third lowest.
Yep. 2019 in the NFL. Yep.
I mean, this dude just doesn't give a shit, man. It's so annoying.
I thought they were getting this guy out of there, though. Like, what happened to the votes for that?
Piggybacking off of that, actually, that's a good segue.
Yeah.
The House Oversight Committee has requested Commissioner Roger Goodell and the Commanders owner, Dan Snyder, to appear before them at a hearing on June 22nd.
I promise you guys, listeners, that was not planned. We did not plan that there.
No. It just kind of worked out that way. I love that. No, but seriously, so hopefully this is Dan Snyder's last hurrah because I am so sick of this dude.
Please.
So let me ask this. With that, so if they all vote to get him out of there, would he be out of there before the start of this year, or would he still have this year and then they get him out of there?
That
I'd imagine they would want to get him out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah, I don't think they'd want to.
Everyone
I
else in the
think
league
with
knows.
something like this, they'd want to get him out.
The rest of the league hates him. Like,
yeah,
he's such a black eye on us. For an organization like the NFL that's had a lot of black eyes over the years, you know, the treatment of Colin Kaepernick. Why am I drawing a blank? Did I already say the treatment of Colin Kaepernick? Okay, I said that.
Yeah.
The treatment of Colin Kaepernick. All
among others that we're just blanking on.
All of the players getting arrested for physical violence against family members. Deshaun Watson. You know, Deshaun Watson. Somehow Dan Snyder still stands out, and the whole Commander situation still stands out.
I really think Snyder has something on the owners or something, because there is no way this dude is allowed to get away with whatever he's been doing.
Oh, yeah. The second that they kick him out, if they eventually do kick him out, he's going to come out and say that the owners all go to, like, cocaine orgies, like that one congressman, Leslie Hawthorne, said.
Getting on their sportsgasm?
But then again, it's like, okay, we know that because of the whole Robert Kraft happy ending story that came out, like, a couple of years ago.
That was funny.
We know that these creepy old men and these owners are doing weird shit. But, hey, it's their money. They can do whatever they want with it as long as it's not, like, disturbingly illegal.
Exactly.
They want to have cocaine orgies and get their sportsgasm on. Let them do it as long as they're not hurting anyone or minors aren't involved.
Yeah, but then you have Snyder who, like, has people sexually harassing the cheerleaders, and his response is to get rid of the cheerleading program. So, you know, it's just there's just so many players, owners that have just been tons of controversy, and Antonio Brown is one of them.
Oh, no. Yes. Okay. I put this on here because my favorite YouTuber, sports related, Urinating Tree, he posted a video reviewing Antonio Brown's album. And I thought, and I heard snippets of it. And I thought, oh my God, that's horrible. That's not really Antonio Brown, is it? Yes, it is.
It is.
Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. So Antonio Brown released his first album since his 2020 album, Himothy. It's called Paradigm. It's his debut album. It features actually really good production and an actually really good guest verse from Lil Wayne. With that being said, it is one of the worst things I have ever heard.
Yeah, it's atrocious.
If you want to have a laugh, or if you want to cleanse your ears, listen to Paradigm. It's going to change.
Is it on Apple Music?
I actually don't know where it's on.
Let me try to find it on Spotify.
I'm searching up Antonio Brown right now.
It features.
Yeah.
It's featuring. It's featuring.
He's got Young Thug on there, The Baby, French Montana,
Video Foreign, Keisha Cole.
He's got names on there, but
Hey yo,
But
his
horrible.
name is the one that's awful.
AB's a rapper.
Listening to it, I'm just gonna say, AB, if I know things haven't been really good with us ever since you walked off the field in that Jets game, but my dude, your changing career path was a horrible decision. If that's how you rap, I would be regretting walking off the field from that Jets game every single day of my life. That was brutal to listen to.
Oh man, I love sports, man. Sometimes the memes write themselves, and it just makes my job so much easier.
I just want to point out that when the Bucs signed Antonio Brown back in 2020, I was convinced that was a bad idea.
He was. I can confirm that.
Yeah, I was going off about how this is stupid. This guy is going to run this team into the ground. He didn't. I'm glad because Brady got him in line.
As Brady
for
does.
a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's really sad. The decline of Antonio Brown has been just horrible to watch.
He was such a good receiver. He is a good receiver, but I'm surprised he hasn't sold a Super Bowl ring, honestly. Like, I am just waiting for some shit to pop up, or he just like Antonio Brown sells his ring on eBay for $20. Like, I guarantee that's gonna happen. Like, he's gonna like toss it in the ocean or some shit. He's not gonna keep that ring forever. I can guarantee it. He's gonna do something. But on a more somber note, we have Jeff Gladney passing away at 25.
Yeah, this was pretty tragic.
It was a car accident, unfortunately.
It was a car accident?
Yes.
Man, that's like...
But I don't think it was his fault, and I know he wasn't. I'm pretty sure he wasn't even drunk, so I don't think it was one of those things.
It's messed up. Jeff Gladney was the cornerback for the Cardinals who had he was drafted by the Vikings as their first-round pick, I think back in 2019, 2020. Yeah. But yeah, so our thoughts, prayers, and condolences go out to his family and to the Arizona Cardinals.
His friends, teammates.
It's just rough, man, seeing somebody that young, our age.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It makes you appreciate life more.
It does. I'm going to celebrate when I get to 25. I'm going to celebrate because getting a quarter of the way through life and making it this far, that's something.
Shouldn't be a celebration, but it is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Speaking
I got a lot of friends that didn't make it here to 25.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
There was,
there's a great line from Nas from his song "Life's a Bitch." He said, "A quarter of way through life, thank God we even made it." So,
yeah.
Live by that.
On continuing on the celebration part, Madden released the cover just before we hopped on here.
And guess who they put on the cover?
They picked the one and only John Madden. It was only right they did that. I mean, I'm still not buying the game, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, the game is probably going to be trash regardless, but
yeah.
Let's just take a moment. They took the original Madden cover and recreated it, which I love that. This also means there's not going to be a Madden curse.
Yes.
Thank God. Speaking of somebody who just experienced it, as last year, both of my teams were on the cover, and both of them lost excruciatingly in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, you got your team in the Stanley Cup final, so shut up.
Not yet. Not yet. And we're not there yet. Don't worry. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, so let's talk about that now. We got Isaac's Hockey Corner.
Whoop, whoop. All right. Welcome back to the Hockey Corner, where we talk hockey because that's pretty much everything we can talk about. By the way, if you guys want to see more in-depth analysis into hockey, pretty much all the other podcasts on Old City Sports Network can fill you in. Just go click on any of them. They are so much better than I am.
There's a ton of hockey stuff on Old City Sports. Go follow them. They are great people. All of us under that network are very grateful for them, and they have just a ton of hockey people.
Yeah, and they will do a much better job than I am doing of recapping what's going on. So before we get into the series, a little bit of off-season news, some concerning things going on for the Boston Bruins. That is that Brad Marchand is going to have hip surgery and will miss 6 months and potentially out for most of next season, which opens up a big question. What is going to happen to the Bruins? This was a team that was a wild card team this past season and actually took the Hurricanes to 7 games. Now their star player, who is getting up there and is kind of past his prime, but still producing pretty well, he's out now. What's that going to do for Boston? You have to wait and see. Personally, I could care less, but then sorry, when it's a team in your division, you don't really care. It's like, oh, that's one less team to worry about. Anyway, so here's your series recaps. When we last left off, the Panthers had been swept out of the playoffs by the Lightning, and the Flames were about to be swept gentlemanly out of the playoffs by the Oilers, which they did in Game 5. Edmonton beat Calgary 5-4 in overtime. Grown. They advanced to the Western Conference Finals, knocking the top seed of the Pacific out once again, and reminding us all that the Calgary Flames are the West's version of the Florida Panthers. Eternal pain and suffering. At least they have won a Stanley Cup in the 80s.
It wasn't the 80s, though.
As for the other series, Avalanche and Blues ended up going to 6 games. The Blues avoided elimination in Game 5 and defeated the Avs in overtime 5-4. Despite Colorado getting a hat trick from Nathan McKinnon, the Blues erased a 3-0 deficit to win. It did not last. Game 6 went to overtime again, and the Avs scored almost immediately, punching their ticket to the Western Conference Finals, setting up a date with Edmonton. We will talk about Game 1 in a second. That was last night, and that was absolutely ridiculous. Meanwhile, as for the Eastern Conference Finals, Rangers and Hurricanes were kind of having a really weird series in which the Rangers were losing on the road but winning at home. Neither team could win on the road. Game 5, Carolina continued their dominance on home ice. They won 3-1, but they couldn't win on the road in Game 6. The Rangers bullied them at Madison Square Garden, tied the series, and went to Game 7. And in Game 7, it was in Raleigh. Everyone thought Hurricanes are probably going to win. They've been perfect at home all postseason. The castle got breached. The Rangers bashed the Hurricanes, beat them 5-2, and headed to the Eastern Conference Finals, which sets up a date with my Lightning. So, the Eastern Conference Finals, for the 3rd year in a row, it'll be the Tampa Bay Lightning versus a team from New York. But instead of the Islanders, we got the Rangers this time. That first game is tonight. I'm extremely excited. This Rangers team does not give up. They have gone to 7 games in both of their series so far that have come down to the wire. Meanwhile, they're playing an extremely well-rested Tampa team that has basically just been spending the last week just relaxing at home like, this is nice. So this is a well-prepared, well-rested Tampa team versus a Rangers team that just got done with another 7-game series after their first 7-game series. So that's going to be fun. As for the Western Conference Finals, we have Edmonton versus Colorado. Game 1 was last night, and this was crazy. There was a stretch in which 5 goals were scored in 5 minutes. This game was ridiculously high scoring, back and forth. It was wild. Avalanche pulled out a 7-4 lead. The Oilers came back and got a goal to make it 7-6 with a minute to go and almost pulled off an incredible comeback, only for the Avs to get an empty net goal right at the end. Avalanche took game 1 8-6. Defense, we don't need defense where we're going. This game was wild, and I strongly encourage everybody to tune into the Western Conference Finals because it's looking like it's going to be crazy. I will say, against the Calgary in the last series, Edmonton did fall behind in a crazy back-and-forth, high-scoring game in Game 1, and then immediately just won 4 straight, so anything could happen.
Anything can and will happen, honestly.
Probably will.
Hey, in sports nowadays, anything can happen.
Pretty much. Is that all for hockey, Isaac?
That pretty much that pretty much wraps things up.
I'm
for
rooting
one,
for
am
anybody but the
extremely excited.
Rangers.
Yeah, for me, it's hashtag anyone but Edmonton. Nobody wants that team. Nobody wants that team anywhere near the finals. This team was supposed to be terrible. This team had been mismanaged horribly, and they basically spat in the face of everybody who has fought and survived the COVID-19 pandemic when they took Evander Kane, who had notoriously been faking vaccination, and they said, "We don't see a problem with you. Come join us."
Yeah.
So that's a spit in the face to pretty much everybody who's had to make sacrifices during this pandemic. So, yeah, anybody but Edmonton. Go Avs. I know if the Lightning end up playing the Avs, it's going to be insanely difficult because that Avalanche team is stacked. But, yeah, no, anyone but Edmonton. And Kylee appears to have frozen.
Yep.
I didn't.
You didn't freeze? You didn't freeze?
I don't know.
You froze
hope
on my
not.
end for a little bit. Is
Yeah,
my
you froze
Wi-Fi
on
going
mine.
crazy?
I don't know. It might be.
Oh boy. Just in
Weird.
case anyone, for those who are watching, I live in the sticks, so my Wi-Fi sometimes, that's giving me a signal. Your Wi-Fi is absolute shit, and you should feel bad. I know. I do feel bad.
Now that is all we have for sports, but we have our goobers of the week. Isaac, kick it off.
So as always, we're gonna do Rob Manfred. This week we got 3 goobers of the week. Rob Manfred, as always. Tommy Pham for whatever the hell that was, and Antonio Brown for once again reminding us that everybody has a dream that they can be a SoundCloud rapper, but very few people actually can go through with it.
Yep.
So, yeah, AB, thank you for shattering the dreams of young boys everywhere who are packing produce and thinking they could be rappers. Because after hearing you, they're probably rethinking their lives, being like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't, just in
Right.
case I don't end up like that.
And then Isaac, who won it all that year?
Oh, give me 1 second. I completely forgot to choose a year. Oh, this is easy. We'll just do a random one. 2009. It was a great year. A fantastic year for sports. Well, sort of great year for sports. There were some good things, and there was also some really bad things. But we'll start with the World Series. Kylee, I know you already know who won.
I know that was the Yankees just because you said that earlier.
I did. Yep, we beat the Phillies. It was the last time the Yankees have won the World Series. The Yankees have gone an entire decade without winning a World Series, by the way, which is horrible. If you, like many others, want to help these poor, starving New York Yankees who haven't won a World Series in over a decade, you can donate too. Insert the Sarah McLachlan music in the background. Many franchises have won World Series recently, but that doesn't matter. The Yankees haven't won in a decade, and that's clearly more important than anything else.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Give me the Super Bowl winner of 2009.
I think that was Santonio Holmes' great catch. Pittsburgh Steelers.
It was the year before.
Ooh.
Did happen in 2009, but it counts for the season before because the NFL is different than everyone else for some reason.
Was it the Saints?
Yes, it was the Saints. It was the Bounty Gate Saints who cheated not only throughout the season and the playoffs by ruining the careers of Kurt Warner and Brett Favre, but also cheated in the Super Bowl. The Colts players to this day allege that they snuck an extra player onto the field during that onside kick, and the refs completely missed it because of the scrum for the ball.
Wow.
I could go back and watch that.
There's the Saints. Gross. Hate that Super Bowl. Disgusting. Little old 12-year-old me vowed that night to never watch football again. Give me the NBA champions of 2009.
Lakers.
Lakers.
It was Kobe's
They beat the
Lakers.
Magic, right?
Yeah, taking down Dwight Howard and the Magic.
Yep. I remember that because LeBron was supposed to go that year, and the Magic beat the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Just a completely random finals appearance by the Magic.
Right?
That was when
Dwight was in
Howard.
the prime.
Yeah, I was prime Dwight Howard. It's a shame that team didn't make it back.
That guy
Glad
was
he got his ring though.
He did. Finally, give me the Stanley Cup champions for 2009.
Mm.
Was it the Red? No, it wasn't the Red Wings.
Was it the Penguins?
Got it. Penguins rematched the Red Wings from 2008 and beat them this time thanks to Sidney Crosby being incredible. As for the rest of the league watched in terror and realized, the Penguins are going to be very good for a while. And nearly
That they were.
over 10 years later, they still are.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that was a rough year, Kylie, for us, for both of us.
Yeah, it was. It was. Definitely was. But moving on, we got 2 facts and a lie. This is my favorite one. All right.
Oh,
So,
boy.
number 1, this is going to be easy. The Olympic rings cover every flag in the world except for 2 countries. Because they were after the Olympics. Number 2, Steve Young was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer before
That's
he
true.
had greatness with the 49ers.
That's true.
That was true.
And then number 3, the Mets haven't won a World Series since 1986.
Oh my God, Kylie, this is the easy. It's number 1.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
number 1.
Yeah, it's number 1. The
This,
86 Mets
this
were
is
the
where I
last-
want to humble you guys because I hate you guys. Your teams are good.
Yeah. Well,
Remember where you
can't-
came from, asshole.
1986, and this is 2022. Here we come.
I just want to say that the best way to tell if somebody is a real Bucks fan is to ask them if they remember Steve Young or if they knew
Yep.
Steve Young was on the team. I will say that Steve Young was terrible on the Bucks, just absolutely horrible. It didn't help that the other quarterbacks they had on the roster were Vinny Testaverde and Steve freaking DeBerg. But even so, yeah, the Tampa Bay in the 80s, those Bucks teams missed out badly.
Yeah.
And now I'm pissed off that you reminded me that we had Steve Young and put him to waste, Kylie. Thank you.
Told you I
Thank
wanted to
for
humble you
doing
today.
that. You did humble me. So unfortunate. I didn't need to be humbled, though.
I know. You're good. But still, your teams are good right now. So you have to be brought back down to earth.
You know what? You know what? Just for that, I'm not going to speak to you until next week. And with that being said, take us out.
Now we got Calvin's best bets.
Oh,
For the
right.
day.
Our new segment. Oh, I'm so. My apologies, Calvin. I'm so
Hey, you're
used
good, boss.
to it only being the two of us. Go ahead.
Today we just got a couple of them. I like the Astros out over the Athletics, so we're going Astros money line. I like the Yankees over the Angels. And then I also like the Red Sox not to lose to the Reds again, and so we're going Red Sox money line as well. I also like a couple guys for hits today. Like I was telling Kylie before the show started, JD Martinez has gotten 1 hit in 87% of his games that he's played. I like JD Martinez for 1 hit. I also like Rafael Devers for 1 hit. He's gotten 1 hit in 86% of the games he's played. And then I also like Brandon Nimmo and Trey Turner as well for 1 hit. So those are the best bets for today.
All right, and with that being said, that ends the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, this is brought to you by Old City Sports Network. Thank you guys. We have 2 promo codes for you guys. Use code OCS www.bodycheckwellness.com, and you get 25% off your hemp-derived CBD oils and edibles for you and your furry friends at home. And then you also use code OCS at checkout for 25% off of your Beardsman products if you're trying to be like Isaac and grow out your playoff beard.
I'm just going to warn you guys, if this beard is not here next week, that means that the Lightning lost. It's the best one. It's the best playoff beard we've grown since. I finally have figured out the right combination of conditioning plus grooming to get it to actually look good and not just look like I'm some weird neck bearder, one weird guy with a neck beard who runs a Discord server. So hopefully these products that I got from norsebeards.com are going to help out. And I know they will because they're trusted by everyone here at Old City Sports Network.
Yes. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. All 3 of us will see you next week.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Peace out,
Thank you
guys.
for making episode 20 so fun. Let's get ready to get to episode 25. That's the next big milestone.
Let's get it. Bye, guys.
Peace.